What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about what I think is the best gun cleaning solvent on the market, and it's the Bortec Eliminator. I absolutely love this solvent, and the reason why is it contains no ammonia and it's environmentally friendly, and it's actually also made right here in Pennsylvania. So it's nice to support a local company. And I'm actually not being paid by Bortec or sponsored by them to do this video. I'm just sharing with you a great product that I think would help you out and clean your guns very well without damaging them. And so one of the things that I really like about this cleaner is that it doesn't smell and it's not very harsh on your skin. If I use traditional solvents like Hops number 9 or some other type of traditional solvent, it's very harsh on your fingers, and you have to wear some kind of nitrile gloves or plastic gloves of some kind, rubber gloves, to protect the skin on your fingers, because otherwise you'll find out later on after cleaning that the skin on your fingers starts to peel, and I don't like that. Also, your fingers can smell for hours or even a whole day from the solvent, soaking into your skin. And Bortec doesn't do that. It doesn't smell, which is really good if you're like me and occasionally you like to clean your guns in your kitchen or in your living room or something like that, and you don't want to hear your spouse complain about the smell. You can toss the patches, the wet patches, right in the trash can in your kitchen, and it's not going to stink like solvent. So that's a huge benefit, but the biggest benefit of this cleaner is that it's not harmful to your barrel, to your bore, and the rifling in your bore. A lot of solvents can be very harsh and they have ammonia in them, and ammonia is really good at cleaning. It'll take off a lot of the fouling, especially the copper fouling, which is really hard to remove without ammonia, okay? But the problem with ammonia is that if you let it sit inside of the bore too long, it can start to corrode or eat away at the metal, and that can cause a reduction in accuracy, okay? Now, I like to shoot precision rifles. I love long-range shooting. I do a lot of long-range shooting, and I have a lot of precision rifles with match-grade barrels that are custom-made, and the last thing I ever want to do is damage one of those custom rifles with match-grade barrels, okay? Because I spent a lot of money on them, and if you're not careful when you use some of these traditional solvents that have ammonia in them, you could damage your gun, okay? You can damage the bore, and you can damage the internals, okay? If, let's say, you're cleaning inside of the receiver and some of the solvent starts to drip down into the trigger group, and some of the solvent gets onto the springs and different parts of the trigger, it can eat away at the metal and damage it, okay? Unless you pull the whole trigger out and wipe off every single drop of solvent in there, which most people don't do. They just swipe in and out. They swipe the bore, they swipe the receiver, they clean the bolt, and they put everything back together. But a lot of times the solvent will drip into the trigger group and different internal parts, and people never clean those parts, and the solvent will just sit on those parts for months until someone takes the whole gun apart and does a deep clean. And while that solvent is sitting there on those internal parts, it's damaging them, okay? Especially if it has ammonia in it. So the Bortec cleaner is not harmful to bores and internal parts. You don't really have to worry about letting it sit too long. It's safe on all types of barrels, and I really like that. That's very important. Now, I've used all different types of solvents. I've used Hops number 9. Actually, Hops number 9 was the first solvent that I ever used, and I used it for many years. I still use it because it's cheap and it works. But the problem with Hops number 9 is that it's harmful to your barrel if you let it sit inside of the bore too long and you don't wipe it down, or you don't wipe it enough. you don't get all the solvent out. It has ammonia in it, so it can start to eat away at the inside of your barrel, your bore, and that could obviously reduce the accuracy of your barrel. And so that's a big negative effect. It smells, it has toxic fumes, okay? But with the BoreTech Eliminator, this doesn't smell at all. It literally, it's like water. It has no smell whatsoever. It's very easy to use and it's very effective. I was a little bit skeptical about it because I'm always skeptical about new technologies. I always like to stick with the tried and true methods, like hops number 9, which has been around for decades, or Sweets 762, which has been used by the military for decades. You know, your traditional ammonia-based copper solvents, I've used them for many, many years. And the problem with all of those, like I mentioned, is they're all very strong solvents. A lot of copper solvents are very harmful to your barrel if you don't wipe them out quickly, okay? Especially Sweets 762, that's basically like pure ammonia. It has a very strong ammonia smell, and if you leave that stuff in your barrel too long, it's going to damage the internals, it's going to damage your rifling. So BoreTech will not do that, okay? You don't have to worry about quickly wiping out the solvent. You can let it sit for a few minutes. It's not going to corrode the barrel or damage anything. So to me, that's a huge benefit, especially if you like to do long-range shooting and precision shooting, and you have to clean your barrel and get the copper fouling out a lot, especially if you're breaking in your gun and you're at the range and you're breaking it in. You know, I absolutely love this solvent for breaking in a barrel. It's really, really good. It doesn't smell, environmentally friendly. It's not harsh on your skin, and you don't have to wear gloves when you use it. It doesn't stink. So I want to just show you guys a patch that I used when I was cleaning my AR-10 here. But check this patch out, guys. It's very, very dirty. This was one of the first few patches that I ran through the bore. And you can see all the blue colors on this patch. And you can see just how effective the BoreTech solvent is at removing copper deposits from the rifling. Okay, look at all the blue colors. I never get this much blue when I use hops number 9. And in fact, even traditional copper solvents that are just strictly designed to remove copper, like Sweets 762 or Hoppy's copper solvent or Remington copper solvent, all those copper solvents are actually not as effective as the BoreTech is. And the BoreTech can remove all types of fouling, not just copper. So if you use something like Sweets 762 or any traditional copper solvent, they'll only remove copper. They're not going to remove powder residue, carbon, lead, and other things. They're just going to remove copper. But the nice thing about BoreTech is that it removes the copper just as good as a pure copper solvent does, but it removes the lead fouling, the powder residue, and carbon just like hops number 9 does. Okay, so it's like a combination between hops number 9 and a copper solvent, but without the smell, without the ammonia, without the harsh chemicals. It's just a really, really good solvent. So I wanted to just share this with you guys because I think you might find it useful. I clean a lot of guns. I shoot a lot, as you see on my channel. I'm always shooting, and I've been shooting for over 20 years, rifles, pistols, shotguns, and I've used all different types of solvents, and I can highly recommend the BoreTech Eliminator bore cleaner. Again, I'm not being sponsored by them. I just want to support a good company, a local company, and share a good product with you guys that I think will help you out. Now, another thing too is I highly recommend these Bush's triple twill patches. They're like a very sturdy patch. They're like, you know, triple twill, so they're sewed like 3 times over, and they're just really durable, and they don't leave like little pieces of cotton in your barrel, which could actually be dangerous. If you use some of those cheap patches, they'll leave little cotton strings and little fuzz balls inside of your bore, which could actually cause a high pressure situation if you don't get that all out of there. But with the Bush's triple twill, it gets everything, you know, out. And but with the Bush's triple twill, because it's, you know, I don't know how they do it, but it's like really durable. There's no like fraying ends on it. There's no loose cotton that's falling off of the patch when you're cleaning it. And so I highly recommend Bortec Eliminator Bore Cleaner and Bush's triple twill. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere.